So once you start your Android Studio application, you'll see on the left of the Welcome to Android Studio dialog box, there's a list of recent projects. If you just want to dive right into one of those projects, just double click and you can get going. Off to the right, there are a list of options of how to start. You can start a new Android Studio project straight from scratch. The second option is to open an existing Android Studio project. This would be a project that you've been working on within Android Studio. The third is to import an Android code sample. This is something you'd usually pull off the internet. It'd be a working code sample that you could practice with off of a Git repository or Android site. The fourth choice would be to check out a project from version control. Now this is very common. You'll use Maven, Git, and so forth, and you want to import it into your Android Studio tool. Next option is the import the project from Eclipse. Now many of us have Eclipse projects that need to be imported into Android Studio. This is a very easy way to do it. Just select that choice and it will convert into an IntelliJ-based project. Your next option is to configure settings of how Android Studio is going to work. There are a great many number of options to configure Android Studio. And lastly, there's documentation. And if you have questions, that's the place to go. There's a default Hello World that I've been playing with, and it's right there on the left you can see. Since it's showing me my recent projects, I'll select that. Use Android Studio's SDK. And this is how Android Studio looks. Android Studio is specifically for Android. In addition, you can work with just plain Java if you want to mock up some code real quick to test. If we look at this, you'll see an outline of our project. It's called the project view. It gives you the name of the project, Hello World. You'll see an app selection here, and there's also external libraries, Gradle, build, and so forth. Right now, let's focus on the app. Under app, we can find some really neat stuff. For instance, the libs folder. If there are any libraries that we are going to take advantage of, we can put them here. We have our source folder. This will contain our test code and our application code. If I look at our application code, under Java, I can see my package name, com example Chris hello world, my working folder, and then my classes, my main activity, and another activity. Matched with that is my resource folder, and that'll have my layout folder, and these will map to these activities that I've created. If we look at these layouts, they'll render very nicely a pretty realistic view of what your device might look like with this default design. So as I zoom in, we can rotate it to landscape. We can also check out the text and still look at the view. That's a really nice feature, I think, is to be able to look at the text and view at the same time. I mentioned this project view. That's not the only view you get. There's also a packages view. And you can see all the packages, how the package is structured, and then your values and drawables and so forth right off the bat. The one I find myself working in the most is the Android view. The Android view gives you the manifests right there at the top, then the Java, the resource, and everything that you would want for an Android application. It makes it very easy for me as a developer to quickly go to the parts that I need, manifest, Java code, resources, do what I need to do, and get it done. Lastly, one other feature of Android Studio, the structure. If we go back and look at, say, the main activity, you highlight that, let's bring that up in a file view, and then look at the structure. By selecting structure, we can see the methods. I can see this is protected, this is public, this is public with the padlock here. In more complex files, this is kind of the way you can quickly get to and see what methods and variables and so forth that you have available within a file.